Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss K nearest neighbor algorithm. It is one of the easiest machine learning algorithms which you can learn, and later in the part of the video I'm also going to show you how to implement in the RStudio. So what is KNN? The nearest neighbor classifiers are defined by the characteristics of classifying unlabeled examples by assigning them to the class of most similar examples. So put it simply, so in the nearest neighbor algorithm, it does not make any assumptions about the data, about the distribution of the data, and it does not also make any models to understand the type of label of the test data. What it does is it first identifies the label from the training data and tries to match with the characteristics similar to that of the training data, and then it assigns label according to it. For example, we have suppose we have few of these ingredients and we have asked a person to taste them and rate them blindfoldedly based on the sweetness and crunchiness. So the person, after tasting it blindfoldedly, he or she rates these particular ingredients based on their sweetness and crunchiness. So here we get our training data. So now we have these ingredients ra- ranked according to their sweetness, crunchiness, and we also have their label, which is the food type, whether it's a fruit, protein, or a vegetable. Now what we do is we try to plot these ratings which has been provided by the respondent based on the crunchiness and the sweetness. So here we plotted all the mm, proteins, vegetables, and fruits based according to the ratings which the respondent gave it to us. So here we can observe that um, the ingredients which are pertaining to a particular group like vegetables, proteins, fruits tend to lie on the scatter plot in a group. So what assumption we can make that data from a particular group tend to show similar kind of features. That's why they appear on the scatter plot in groups. So the whole KNN algorithm is based on the similar logic. Any data which has uh, similar features with a particular group, there is a high probability that it will belong to that particular group. So now we are trying to answer the age-old question whether a tomato is a fruit or a vegetable. So here we try to apply the KNN algorithm. Here we already have the training data. Training data as in all the ingredients which the respondent tasted and are rated blindfoldedly. So now we have a test data from a tomato and we are trying to decide whether this tomato belongs to which group, because tomato has not been labeled yet, unlike these bacon, lettuce, or apple, whatever ingredients we had from our training data. So suppose now we have tomato. After plotting the tomato based on its crunchiness and sweetness, we are trying to figure out which is its nearest neighbor. So here comes the value of k important. If we set the value of k equals to 1, that means we would only consider the most nearest ingredient, which is to tomato, only single element, and whatever the label of that particular ingredient is, we would label tomato as the same label. Suppose as we have in the first instance we have considered k equals to 1. That means the most nearest one neighbor of tomato, mm, of that particular ingredient, we will consider the same level for tomato also. So the most nearest one is orange. So orange, as we labeled earlier, was a fruit. So we consider that tomato will be also considered as fruit. So so confusion, if we consider k equals to 1, the problem might be that it often could be affected by outliers. So in order to prevent that, it is always recommended not to use k equals to 1. Instead of that, k algorithms always relies on hit and trial method, and multiple k values are applied in order to find the correct k value. Also, it is good to remember that k value should not be a even number, and it should always be considered an odd number should always be considered, because whenever we increase a k value more than 1, suppose here we have taken 3, that means that we would before labeling the tomato we would consider 3 nearest neighbors, and whichever type of neighbor is the most, we would label tomato as that particular label. Suppose, so the most 3 nearest neighbor of tomato here is, one is orange that we observed earlier, then we have grape, and then we have nuts. So these are the 3 nearest neighbor as of tomato. So grape belongs to the fruit category, then nuts becomes the part of protein category, and orange becomes a fruit category. So among 3 of the neighbors, we have to take a vote which type of label occurs the most. As grape and orange belongs from the fruit group, they occur twice in the k3 value. Therefore we would still classify tomato as a fruit. So here one can say that, what if we could take the highest k value, that is we include all of them. So that should that should not be done, because if we take the value of k equal to all the data we have on our hand, suppose we have 5 data points from protein, 5 from vegetable, and 5 from fruit. So k equals to 15, if we take, there is a chance that tomato will become a part of that particular group which has the highest data point. Suppose if protein has 8 elements in it and the vegetable and fruit had only 5 elements. So if we consider all the data points equal to k, then protein, all the new data points will be considered as protein, because when we vote it out, protein will always have the highest number of elements in it, and that's why it will, all the unlabeled data which we are trying to find, it will always go to proteins. So one practice which is often done is, we always take the square root of the total data points which we have. That is one of the standard practice we do, but we will again see later part in the R studio how we get to a proper k value. As we saw earlier, whenever we are trying to apply the KN algorithm, we try to find which is the nearest data point. So in order to find that, we have to measure the distance. Now in KN algorithm, usually the Euclidean distance matrix is used. So this is one of the standard uh, application of Euclidean distance which is used in RStudio. But there is another method through which you can also find the distance, is the Manhattan distance. So first we will discuss how Euclidean distance works. So this is a standard formula which we learn in our school, that how to find the distance between 2 points. So Euclidean distance works in that way only. Just find how far is the distance from x1 y1 to x2 y2, and here is the formula for it. While in the Manhattan distance, often that the distance from this point to this point might not be the diagonal line with green line which we see here. Suppose in a suppose it is a city block of Manhattan city. So one person cannot only walk diagonally from this point to this point. The person has to go like this, or maybe like this, or along this yellow line. So often when what we do is, we take a diagonal line from this point to this point and directly connect them. But in Manhattan distance, what it tries to imply that often we cannot fly from this point to this point directly. We have to take another route. So what Manhattan distance tries to do, it takes the absolute distance from point X to point Y. As we said earlier, in KN algorithm, choosing an appropriate gate is crucial because whenever you choose a small k, it, it tends to be noisy. But whenever the larger k you can take, the another problem becomes ki, there is a chance of uh, the data points which have the highest number that could overtake and create a bias in your decision. Now we would go to our studio and try to see how the KNN algorithm is applied. Here I have got a dataset from the UCI machine learning repository. It's available freely on their website. You can download it from there, or otherwise I will put a GitHub link from where you can also download it. So first I have loaded the dataset from my directory. After that, I would try to understand the structure of the data. So when we run the str function, we can see that we have diagnosis column, radius mean, texture mean, perimeter mean. So we have various variables in different columns based according to which a person analyzes whether the lump which has been found, whether it's malign or malignant or it's benign. So if you are a medical professional, you can obviously go through the dataset and decide whether the lump which has been found could be a potential cancer or not. But through KNN algorithm, we would try to expedite the process so that the medication professionals do not spend hours in order to analyze all the data here and may prepare a report for the patient to tell him or to tell her that whether you have a cancer or not. So after we have decided the structure of the data, we could also see view the data frame. So you can see we have first have the ID column, then we have the diagnosis. So you can here we have MB. So M according to M it means malignant or B means benign. So it has been coded as M and B. So for our first job is to drop the first column of the data set, which is some data set is here, this one. And from this ID part is the unique identification number ID, which has been allotted to each patient. So while analyzing the data, we want to be requiring this unique ID. So our first job is to drop this first column. So we have run this out command. After this, the first variable has been dropped. Now if we check the head of the data frame, it would look like this. So no ID column is there. So it has been dropped. Now we can see as the ID column has been removed, what we can do is we can try to find out how many of how many persons which are present in the data set have masses which are benign and how many are malignant. So we can run this command table, and then under the table command we are checking the diagnosis column because there it has been reported whether the person has a benign or a malignant. We can see that 357 of the patients have benign and the 212 are malignant. Malignant means they have been affected by the breast cancer. So now we will be preparing the data for the KNN algorithm will work. So first which we have to do is we have to, in order to the our machine learning classifiers to work, the target feature has to be coded as a factor. So that's why we are running this command under the diagnosis column. We are coding the B and M as factors, and along with that we are also putting the labels of benign and malignant. Once we do that, let me first run the command. When we do that, and we also, along with that, we also try to find out what is the percentage. So here we can see 62% have benign and only 37% has malignant. Let me run this command also. So now they have been coded as benign or malignant. After that, in the data, if you go through, there are 30 variables, all of them are numeric and consist of 3 different measurements of 10 characteristics. So first, in order to understand the data, we would quickly take a summary out of 3 columns only: radius, area mean and smoothness. So one thing which you can see here is, in all the column there, just look at this, the minimum value under radius mean is 6.9 something and the maximum is 28, while under area column the minimum is 143 and maximum is 2501. So this could call a potential problem while applying the KNN algorithm, as the algorithm totally is based upon the distance. So all the distance has to be scaled. Otherwise, when we plot the data, it could create a problem for us. So the next step would be, you need to normalize the data. So how we can normalize? So we would first make a function, normalize function. So the normalized function is the the function will take the vector of x, and for each value of x, thus it will subtract the minimum value and divide it by the range of values of x. So suppose we are trying to normalize this particular column. So for each value of x, suppose the first element of radius mean, so I am trying to normalize this value. So what I would do, I would first subtract this value minus the minimum of radius mean, and then I would divide this by the range of radius mean, that would be 28.11 minus 6.981. So this way you could normalize. So then let me first run this particular command. Oh, oops, sorry. Yes. So now we have the normalized function. Then let us test this for once. You can see when we run the normalized function, we've tried to normalize 1 2 3 4 5 and it has been working perfectly. So it has been normalized to 0 2 2. So how does this work? So let me run it on another vector. So when we do that, you can see that both of them has the same values. So now we are going to apply the Laplace function and apply this normalized function on all the columns that which we have. So when we are subsetting the data, here you can observe that 2:3:1 has been used. Only this from second column to the last column, because the first column was the diagnosis column which we saw earlier. So we won't be normalizing that because it has been coded as a factor variable. So let me now run this data. So after applying the normalized function through apply on each of the columns from second column to the 31st. After that, I just wanted to check one of the columns whether we have applied the normalized functions properly or not. So here we can see the minimum is 0, maximum is 1, so it has been perfectly normalized. So now we would be splitting the data. So one would be our trained data, one would be test data. So we would be training our KN algorithm model, KN algorithm on the trained data, and then we would try to find out the labels of the test data, and we would test that how much accurate this is. So first we would be subsetting 469 rows for the training dataset, and for the test dataset, rest of them would be taken care of. I think we have. Let me just fix this part. One, two. So here you have to 470 till 569 would be our test data set. So let us first run this command. Oops, sorry, I forgot to put a comma. I guess now this would run. Yes. So now we have splitted our data into two parts. One is train, one is test. One thing to remember is in the training and test dataset, the target variable diagnosis is excluded for training the KNN model. Why is that? Because we need to store these class levels in factor variables. So here we put on the we separately store the labels here, training labels and test data labels. Let us for now run this command. After that, you would be requiring the class package. If you don't have it, just type install packages, then class. If you run it, the class package will be installed. After that, you need to load the package. So I haven't, I have already installed it. So I will just load the package. After loading the class package, we could now use the KNN function. So now we would try to predict through the KNN model. So here we have prepared a variable df prediction. So now here we are applying the kn function. Here first you have to assign which is the train dataset. So train equals to df train, which we earlier made, and then the test dataset, which you have to mention here, then the class labels, which you have to also mention, and after that you have to tell the function that what would be the k value. So here what you could do is, so here I have taken 21 as the k value. So how did I arrive to 21? So if you could see 21 multiplied by 21, that arrives around 441. So usually the practice is whatever number of data labels you have, sorry, then data points you have, you take a square root of it. So it is one of the standard practices. We try always make sure that the k value is an odd, not an even value. So after we have taken the k value 21, we need to evaluate the model's performance. So for that you need to install the gmodels packages. So I have already installed it, so I'll just load the package. After that we would make a cross table, and here I specifically mentioned the prop dot chi-square equals to false. We don't need the extra information which is available in a chi-square. So that's why I have written here false. Otherwise, if you want, you can just put it through here and want to see if you want to explore it more, you can do it. So here x equals to, I have written df test labels and y equals df prediction. After running the cross table function, we can see that there is these are the correct ones. So we have 76 and 21. So there are plus, that means that we have a 97% accuracy, and these are the wrong predictions which we made. So it is the false positive, and this is the false negative. So this is a place of worry, because if we here we will predict that it's a false positive, that is the person have a is benign, but we are predicting that it's a malignant cancer. So the it would increase the patient's hospital charges and would put a unnecessary pressure on the hospital infrastructure. While in this case, when the person actually has a malignant cancer, but we have predicted that it's benign, so the patient won't be aware of the fact that she has a cancer and would believe that there's no requirement for treatment. So now you have to increase the efficiency for this. Sorry, it would be 97% accuracy. So after that, we would be discussing how to use an elbow method while we try an hit and trial method to change the k value. So here we can see we have achieved 97% accuracy, and three instances are there. 3% is there where we have failed to make the correct predictions. So now we are going to write a for loop function and test out different values of k. So you can see first we have allotted prediction value 0 and error rate equals to null. So both of them has been assigned as null. Then a for loop function. So for every value of I, so here we have for every value of I, you could see the error rate will be generated. So let me first run this function. Now I would be plotting these values through ggplot. So let us see what we have got after running the for loop function. So let me first load the ggplot. You need to install this ggplot also. So I have already installed it. So I'm just loading it on my RStudio. Then for k values which we have taken in this for loop function, 1 to 50, and the error df equals to data frame. First we are trying to create a data frame before we could plot it in the ggplot. For the k values, what is 1 to 50, and the error rate which we have got it from here. So the error rate is what? So we replace k values from 1 to 50 in this particular kn function. Then after that, we for every value of k we try to find out the error rate. So that we could get is through test level. When what are the instances when the test level is not equal to the predicted, and we try to find a mean of that. So that is the way we found out the error rate. So now we would be plotting for every value of k and the error rate which has it generated. So let us first run this command. So now you could see first we had assigned k values 1 to 50. Then we made a data frame with the error rate which had been procured from the follow function. After that, with the k values, then we printed out the data frame. So for k value 1, there it has been 0.07. So like this, you could see till 50 we have made the data frame. Now our job is to plot this particular data frame. Let me just zoom it for you. I could see the error rate. I could see the error rate as and when the k values increased, so it took a sharp fall. But after a certain point, it remains stagnant. So it is somewhere between 8, I guess. So let us see. So when the k value was 8, the error rate was at its minimum. So you could conclude that whenever you put the k value 8, you could you would be receiving the minimum error rate that is possible. So that's about it. So in this way, first we learned how to summarize all of this. First we learned how KN works and how what are the ways you could implement it in the RStudio. That's for all. Thank you.